Alright, what is going on, my dudes? So we're back here today with another fun little top 10 video list, and this is going to be, in my opinion, the top 10 champions with a couple honorable mentions who I would love to see get a moderate buff and who I think would benefit the highest from that buff and have the easiest chance to go from 0 to hero. Now keep in mind, when it comes to moderate buffs, there are going to be some champions on here who you're going to say, oh, well, they need an overhaul. They can't be on this list. Not so much. Look at, for example, Falcon and Gambit. Those are two examples of moderate buffs, two very, very highly used champions nowadays with a lot of utility and a lot of use, even in high-tier Alliance War, AQ, and endgame content. They used to be absolute duds, and now they're arguably top of their class. More so Falcon and Gambit in my personal opinion, but that's all it really takes is a moderate buff for some of these bad champions if they have stuff going on. So, with all that being said, I've been saying for so long, I want to make these top 10 videos for value, moderate, and overhaul, and we're running out of champions to buff. So without further ado, we're going to jump in to number 10, and keep in mind, for these lists, I am giving higher priority to older champions over newer champions, as much as I would love to put Mcoc at number 1. Alright, so with all that being said, we're going to jump into number 10 today, and number 10 is actually going to be Black Panther Civil War. Now, back in the day, I was really hoping that Black Panther Civil War was going to get a giant overhaul in honor of Chadwick. However, they kind of did that with Black Panther OG, even though I feel like this guy would have been better for that for, obvious reasons, but that's totally fine. I'm sure that this guy will get a buff eventually, and I feel like all he kind of needs is a moderate buff. So the issue with Black Panther Civil War is that he's a total defensive champion. Even his offensive capabilities is rooted in defense. So I feel like when it comes to the moderate buff, keep that kind of similar idea, but you have to make it possible to use it on offense safely, okay? Without having to completely screw over people when he's on defense, if that makes sense. Now, it's not my job to figure out how to do that, so I'm going to leave that one up to Kabam John, all right? But here's the thing with this guy, as you can see, he has, like, you hit him, and he gets, like, these charges, and then you have to, you have to attack them afterwards, and then, like, reflect the damage. It just doesn't work. It just absolutely doesn't work. Also on the special 2, attack increases by up to 1629 based on lost health. First of all, that's not enough. Second of all, that's not the best mechanic. Special 3, 75% chance to stun. That's it. He doesn't have enough abilities, right? So he has some stuff going on. He has some ideas going on in this kit, but he needs a lot more, right? So this guy, there's definitely potential to turn a lot of that defensive use into offensive use, and I have pretty much full faith in Kabam that they would be able to do that if they so chose to. So with all that being said, let's jump on into number 9. Number 9 is going to be an interesting one. It's a science champion that you probably forget very often they exist until you find them on defense, and that's going to be ELECTRO. Now, ELECTRO has a lot of potential for a type of buff, right? For a moderate type of buff. There's so much you can do with shock, with electricity with this guy. Already he has in his kit, he has basically nothing in his kit, right? Nothing at all. Look at this. Chance to stun, chance to stun, chance to stun. That's it. When opponents make contact, static shock, the defensive ability. But right here, ELECTRO takes no damage from shock effects, and each shock grants ELECTRO plus 185 attack and 15% static shock damage. Enemy shock effects gain plus 75% ability accuracy and duration. So he's really good for shock nodes. But what if this guy had a way to put shocks on himself, right? Do you remember when I made that? I don't know if you guys saw it, but I made the Thor Jane Foster buff concept, right? And it was all about putting shocks on yourself and transferring them to the opponent. What if he had a way to harness electricity and put him onto himself and increase his attack? There's a lot that you can do with making ELECTRO the absolute master of shock in this game. I mean, he's ELECTRO. He's ELECTRO, and he's such a cool looking character in the game as well. I feel like he could benefit very, very greatly from a moderate buff. So, with all that being said, we're about to jump right back over to the skill class for number 8. And number 8 is going to be Karnak. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is one of those champions, kind of like Falcon and Gambit before them, who are like, oh my god, Karnak is so freaking bad. He needs an overhaul. No, he doesn't. Karnak has a lot of things going on. In the first, I believe, 20 seconds of the fight, he completely gets rid of the class advantage. You can build on that. You can give him an extra 20% attack in any fight, right? Not just with class disadvantage. He has True Strike on Special 1. He has guaranteed crits, basically. after a couple seconds. He has the ability to shrug off debuffs faster. He has, look at this, 80% reduced defensive ability accuracy by 80% on Special 3. Look at Special 2. Your attack goes higher the lower the opponent's health is. This guy does not need a total overhaul. He already has so much going on, he just hits for crap, and a lot of his abilities are kind of outshined by other champions who do it better. He just needs a moderate, and he could be really, really good. You might disagree, but that's totally fine. This is just my opinion. With all that being said, let's move on to number 7, and number 7 is going to be one of my favorite champions, Jane Foster. Now, Jane Foster is recently in like the overhaul buff pull list, but she just does not need it. She doesn't need a total overhaul. She already has a decent bit going on. She has shocks. She has guaranteed crits. By the way, my Jane Foster is SIG 200. I love it. Yeah, she has a lot going on, right? So she could definitely use an overhaul for sure, but I feel like if she got an overhaul, it'd be one of those overhauls where they just build on the existing material. So a moderate is more than good enough for Jane Foster. She's already kind of underrated. She has a very strong stagger on the Special 2. She has a lot of shock damage. She has guaranteed crits that really ramp up. As a 5-star rank 5 champion, she has like 11k heavy attacks, which is really, really good. Guaranteed crits every time they're stunned, right? And there's a lot, look at the shock damage is nice. The Special 3 has a 6,000 energy shock damage, Special 2, 3,000, Special 1, 3,000. There's a lot you can do. Like I said, I was talking about the Jane Foster buff idea that I made a few months ago. Go check it out if you want to see it. I think it's pretty cool. I feel like, it looks very much so like an overhaul. However, it builds upon everything that she has. So could she fit into overhaul? Sure. All these champions could, but I feel like she can get by with just a moderate. And the same goes for the next Mystic champion on this list, coming in at number 6, and that's going to be Juggernaut. Yes, Juggernaut, the champion who so many people think is the worst in the game. He only needs a moderate. He only needs a moderate. Why is that? Because this guy is unstoppable for the majority of the fight at a high SIG, right? Build on it. Build on that. Heavy attack staggers, unstoppable all the time. Give him 1. Just this could change it, man. Increase his damage and give him 1 passive stack of protection every time you use a special attack. That way you can just go right in while you're unstoppable safely. That'd be so ridiculous. Ridiculously overpowered Juggernaut even if you didn't increase the attack. But you would have to because he has like no attack at all, right? That would make him safe to play like a Juggernaut, right? That's how this guy should be. He doesn't need a full overhaul. Could he use it? Sure. Any champion could, but he doesn't need it compared to other champions. You know what I mean? So that's why Juggernaut cracks spot number 6, I believe. I think we're on 6, right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, right? For me, on the top 10 champs I'd like to see get a moderate. With all that being said, let's jump over to number 5, another champion who has a very strong soft spot in my heart. And number 5 is going to be my first ever 4-star champion, ELECTRO. Now, ELECTRO has some stuff going on, okay, in her kit. She definitely doesn't need a full overhaul, although, of course, she could use it, right? Now, look at her SIG ability. Electra's Final Strike now triggers anytime the opponent's below 25% health. Additionally, while the opponent is within Final Strike range, Electra gains increased critical damage rating. Now, while the opponent has less than 15% health, this champion strikes with guaranteed crits. Also, opponents passively suffer 85% reduced defensive ability accuracy for as long as they are under a debuff effect. This is so similar to Falcon, right? Falcon used to have the same thing, dash back, hold, block. Well, now you have 100% defensive ability accuracy reduction. With Electra, put a debuff on them. Change this to 100% every time they have a debuff. The Special 1 puts a bleed, the Special 2 puts an armor break. Change specials, play super aggressively, reduce their ability accuracy. That fits in so well with the skill class. What an easy, quick, moderate fix. Don't even have to boost her damage too much, right? You can give her a passive Fury every time an ability fails to proc. Similar to how Falcon gets the passive Cruelty every time an evade fails. Look at that, quick and easy moderate buff. Now you have a decent skill champion, right? I don't know, that's what I would do. Now, spot number 4, we're breaking into like the top 4 now. We have a couple more skill champions here. Number 4 is going to go to a champion that is kind of a fan favorite for a lot of people, Taskmaster. And a lot of people agree that while he's so fun to play, he can use a bit of a boost. He is so difficult to play and requires a very high sig in order to get the max out of his utility, right? Very similar to like Red Guardian, for example, right? Because look, you increase the duration by 5 seconds at max sig. Also, for how hard you have to play this guy, for how difficult he is to manage, I feel like the damage isn't there. I made a 6-star rank through Taskmaster max sig video a few months ago, and the damage did not impress me as much as I thought it would. So, just give this guy a few adjustments, make it worth it. Make it worth it to play one of the most difficult champions to play in the game. He's a fan favorite character. He's so freaking cool. His animations are amazing. He should feel more rewarding when you play him properly, right? So, with that being said, we're about to move into the top 3. And we're staying in the skill class for number 3, because number 3 is going to be Agent Frickin' Venom, a champion who doesn't need an overhaul. He just doesn't, man. This guy should be the master of shrugging crap off. Because he already kind of is. He was on the overhaul list, right? Going up against like Guillotine and Ant-Man and everyone. He didn't get too many votes. Could he use one? Yeah. But when you look at what he has, right? Let's look at this. Special 2. The attack incinerates the enemy, right? Make him more potent. Special 1. The attack reduces enemy evasion by 30%. Make it 100%. Special attacks. 65% chance to inflict bleed. Make it 100%. Passive. Venom Symbiote works with Flash's training to reduce enemy evasion chance by 50%. Make it 100%. Make it 100%. It's an easy fix with this guy. Increase his damage, make him more reliable to use. Everyone at Kabam always complains about Quake this, Quake this, Quake that. Make a Quake counter, make a real one. Make an evade counter. There are so many evade counters. Ghost exists. Corvus with True Strike exists. Just do it. Just do it. Agent Venom, another fan favorite character. I don't think he needs a full overhaul, man. Flash's intense military background, coupled with the alien symbiotic enhancement, grants him a 70% chance to purify any debuff. It should be 100% chance for any non-damaging debuff. And it should start at 100% for any damaging debuff. And it should be reduced by 5 to 10% when you do it in rapid succession, right? Make him shrug off much more reliable and much more useful, you know? But yeah, also his sig ability, just make it better. More crit damage rating, more attack. Just beef him up. Just beef him up. That's all you need. He doesn't need a full overhaul. Could he use it? Would he be cool for one? Sure. Why not? But in a world where we have to overhaul Groot 1 month, well, Agent Venom could be a really great moderate alongside him, because he can't have multiple overhauls in a month. I don't know. With that being said, let's move on to number 2. And before we click number 2, I just want to again reiterate that I'd say a lot of moderates are better than overhauls. So I'm sitting here saying that Agent Venom, who's currently pretty terrible, doesn't need the full overhaul because he can be better with a moderate than an overhaul possibly. We don't know what the overhaul will be. We can predict what the moderate will be. And there's a lot of potential there, is what I was saying there, okay? Let's move on to number 2, another fan favorite character who could certainly use a boost, and that's going to be a champion that I love, Loki. Now, Loki can do some things for sure. He can steal some buffs. He has that thing where the curse and the special 2 does the fixed amount of damage, right? That's all well and good, but how many people actually use Loki? Can he steal every buff? No. He can't steal every buff, and why not? Well, probably because he was released back in like 2017, those buffs didn't exist yet, so he can't steal them without them going in and changing it, right? Loki, man, is such a powerful character. There's a lot he can do. He's a mystic champion, right? In the comics I'm talking, he's a powerful character. There's so much you can do with magic and this and that and sorcery and all this, man. There's so much potential to just add add into him, man. Just add in. Keep everything that he has. Make it more reliable. Have it so that the buffs increase potency as time goes on. Make him like the master of stealing and using those buffs. The god of mischief. Stealing your fury buffs. Making them more potent on himself and using that against you. There's so much potential there for Loki. So much potential. And look at the special too, it's already decent. If Loki has more health points than his opponent, has a 100% chance of dealing energy damage equal to 7% of their max health. You know you can like rip through Labyrinth of Legends opponents with this, man? The curse was great. Gives you guaranteed crits, I think, on your heavy attack. Yeah. A lot of potential. A lot of potential with Loki for a moderate buff. So, before we jump in to number 1, we have some honorable mentions who I would love to put on this list. However, I didn't for a couple different reasons. I didn't feel like they deserved to be on the list over other people. Maybe some of them are newer than other champions. That definitely influenced some of it. Some of them are good through synergies and whatnot. So let's jump right in with rapid succession. The first honorable mention is Bucky Barnes. So Winter Soldier is a champion who a lot of people, some people think he's like good with the Killmonger synergy. No, he's not. His power drain's unreliable. His damage is okay with Killmonger. You need a synergy for that. It's Winter Soldier, man. He's another fan favorite character. Beef him up. There's a lot you could do with him. Make the armor drain more reliable. He has a thing where you can dash back and hold block and do this and activate your stuff and make it better. Make it more useful. Make it more useful. As decent as he can be, you never see anybody using Winter Soldier. Plus, he's not worth using over other champions, so he can definitely use a bit of a buff. He might even be okay with a value buff, but I honestly almost put him in Overhaul just because I want a completely new Winter Soldier, and I'm talking new animations too, right? Come on. Let's get a really decent version of Winter Soldier, and I don't want no Winter Soldier MCU version. I want my Winter Soldier to be decent in MCOC, all right? Let's move on to the next one. RHINO. Just like Juggernaut, there's a lot of stuff you can build on here. Every time you dash in, you go unstoppable. Sometimes you go unblockable, right? There's a lot you can do with that. Can he use an overhaul? For sure. Does he need some sort of buff? Yes. So I feel like that can definitely be kind of easy to build upon. I feel like even if you do build upon this guy or overhaul him, I don't think he's ever going to be top of the game. I just feel like he's meant to be like a beginner character, right? You go unstoppable. You can't really get intercepted and whatnot. You can't really, mess up too much with this guy. You can die, of course, but I feel like he has his place in the game, where back when I was using 3 stars, I was using RHINO. I was, man. Why? Because he goes unstoppable, and that's fun to do when you're not the best player yet. So that's why he didn't make the list. Also, he's RHINO. He's RHINO, right? But we have another science champion here as well, and that is going to be, not Spider-Gwen, she's pretty great, it's Mcoc. Mcoc has a champion who has so much going on, but it's never really worth using this guy, man. I feel like if you go in and tweak a lot of stuff, he could be a lot better. There's a lot of potential with this guy. His flux stuff doesn't make too much sense, man. It's always so, it's so confusing, man. Everything he has is so confusing. Make him a little bit more streamlined, a little more easy to understand. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot you can do with this guy. He already has so many abilities. Just make them work better. Make them work a little bit better, and you can probably have a decent champion that no one's going to want to use because, well, I mean, look at him. Poor guy. Poor guy, man. But now we have 3 champions who are very, very good with synergies, and that's why they didn't make the list. First up is Phoenix, right? You all know Phoenix, right? We all love Phoenix. We want Phoenix to be better. However, she has a lot of prestige, so that's another reason taking her off the list a little bit. But also with the Professor X synergy, she can hit like an absolute freaking truck, all right? But without it, she's not the best, man. Yeah, she can use her special attacks in rapid succession. Yeah, she can heavy attack against some armor breaks. Yeah. Right? But without the Professor X synergy, your damage is crappy. It's not really worth it. She has one of the best cheat deaths in the entire game. You can go right up to 100% health at a high sig. And yeah, she used to be, a lot of people used to use her in AQ. right? Because she pretty much had 2 lives, and it was very reliable to do so. But you can build on that. You can build on that. And that's what moderate buffs are. That's what moderate buffs are really good at doing. I think Finish would be great for it. Another one, a champion who's very underrated still, very amazing with a certain synergy team, and that synergy team is Hitmonkey and Medusa for Black Bolt. Now, obviously, Black Bolt on his own, it's going to be a very easy moderate fix. Take those synergies, put them in his kit. Boom! Done and dusted. He still wouldn't have too much utility, but he would have a lot of damage, right? Quick and easy casual questing, Black Bolt. Quick and easy casual moderate buff. Put the synergies in his kit, right? Maybe give him a little bit something else. I don't know. But he's not the best on his own. He's really, really not. There are some really big Black Bolt fans out there, right? But if those synergies didn't exist, he'd probably be top of the list here. But they do exist, so he didn't make it. Now, one more honorable mention, and it's going to be Storm. Now, Storm with the Apocalypse synergy as a horseman is so freaking good, possibly the highest damage over time in the entire game, and she rips through Abyss level fights, man. Stuff like that. So her damage output is nutty, and that's why she didn't make the list, because with that synergy team, yeah, she's great as a horseman. But without it, she's pretty crappy. But she already has her place, in my opinion, right? So, with all that being said, we're going to jump into the number 1 champion I would love to see get a moderate buff, and that's going to be a champion you probably forgot even exists in the game, Yondu. Yondu, man, a fan favorite character again from the MCU. Dude, the end of Guardians 2 gets me every time. What a sick character, man. He whistles in the game. He has the arrow going. He has a heal block. He has some bleeds. But dude, let's do Yondu some justice, man. Let's have a sick Yondu buff. I'd love to see it. The tech class is in a massive need for a couple wins, man. We've had some recent buffs, but still the tech class just feels so lacking to me, man. Even with Ultron and Howard and Civil Warrior and Hulkbuster and all of them, it just feels so... Maybe it's because Ghost and Warlock and Guillotine are so good. I don't know. But I would love some more, like, really useful tech champions, and I would love for one of them to be Yondu. But anyway, my dudes, that's going to be it for this fun little top 10 moderate plus honorable mention champions I'd love to see get a moderate buff. I'm sure we have different lists, and that's fine. That's what's great about this game, right? But my dudes, if you enjoyed this video, do your boy a favor. Drop a big ol' like. Comment what you think about this list in the comment section below. Would you like to see any of these champions get a moderate buff? Let me know in the comment section below. And hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any other future videos just like this coming to you in the future. I'll be seeing you around.